Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. So we had a news reaction out of Afghanistan. I'll talk about my opinions on that and how it impacted the market. We saw consolidation begin after a 5-day bounce after our fear reset. I'll show you the levels that I want to see hold if this is going to remain healthy consolidation, keeping the bulls in control. And we're going to look at a cup and handle chart to be keeping an eye on into next week. So checking in on SPY and the reaction to the news. And whenever I talk about news, there is Dan the Human's opinion on news and events and Dan the Trader's opinion on news and events. And those are two completely different things. Obviously, I have a lot of empathy and it's a tragedy and people died. That's Dan the Human. Dan the Trader looks at this and all I want to know is how does this impact the market bigger picture? And I zoom out and I think bigger picture, how does this impact the market? And my answer is it doesn't impact it at all, bigger picture. Yes, it can have an impact in the short term, and the price reacts to it in the short term. But again, when I think bigger picture, what is the impact on the US stock market from this event? Non-event. So when I look at SPY, we know that we're due for daily consolidation. We had a V-shaped bounce from our SPY fear reset. We had a 5-day bounce. SPY and QQQ started to slow way down and grind a little higher the last couple of days. I was looking for daily consolidation yesterday, and I was too soon. I was keeping an eye on XLF for a pullback, and XLF had a really big bull day. So today it was kind of like the news just pushed forward what the more likely scenario was in the broader market. I would have been much more surprised with a 6th green day in a row than I would be on the first red day of consolidation. So in my opinion, and again, this goes to many things. You have an individual analyst giving an opinion on a stock. Yes, that's going to impact the stock in the short term, but bigger picture, one individual analyst, not going to have a major impact. So looking at SPY on the 5-minute, we flushed down. And another point to that is SPY and QQQ hit first hourly oversold conditions, back burner coming off of all-time highs. That RSI got right down to 30, just under 30, and we bounced. And we had a pretty decent bounce. It was just an hourly lower high as a result of that bounce. But to see the price react to our back burner oversold bounce shows me a lot more technical aspect to what's going on the chart. And then we dropped down and we closed right at the low of the day, waiting to see if it's going to be a confirmed hourly downtrend or not. So zooming back out, daily time frame. Let's look at the last time. We had the fear reset. Green bounce, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Pulled back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Pull back. Difference is we closed at the low of the day as opposed to having a lower wick. But I'm using the EMA 12 as a guide and I'm watching the retracement. And I'm watching the fib retracement levels to help gauge, is this a daily bull flag forming or is it more significant? And I can just say that if daily EMA 12 is holding, it's a potential daily bull flag. So if we are red tomorrow, we're going to be watching that EMA support test. The bulls will have to regain an hourly trend in their favor for a daily higher low to be set. I'm keeping an eye on volume. And if we drop down to a 50% retracement, that will get my attention from the bears because the last times that we have had these fear resets and V-shape bounced, we did not give back 50% retracement on consolidation any of those times. So it would stand out to me if that happens. So long story short, bears need to prove it the next couple of days and drop back down to the midway point. And just looking, 436 was the low, 449 was the high. So we'll say 442, 443 would give us a 50% retracement or so. And QQQ is the same thing. So again, look at the V-shaped bounce, 6 green days, and then a big red day. 5 green days and a little red day. We're watching the EMA 12. We're watching the retracement size as far as how significant this pullback is going to be. You show me this chart by itself, and I would not suspect there was any news on the trading day today. I would say, yeah, bulls ran out of steam. They started slowing down the last couple of days, and then they rolled over into daily consolidation where we will scout a daily higher low as the most likely scenario. IWM, same deal. Big 4-day bounce right into a previous price resistant zone and a pullback on the daily. So we're going to look for a daily higher low, and it's going to be very telling for me whether or not growth names and IWM are able to confirm a daily trend change from here. And again, it's the same thing. What does retracement look like? Because if it is less than 382, or I should say 382 or less retracement, it's going to favor a daily trend change. And if it is 50% or more, it's going to then begin favoring an equilibrium. So 382 is 218, the upper 218s. So watching to see how the price reacts to that. Ideally, the bulls want to backtest and hold the EMAs and confirm a daily trend change. XLF. So XLF, we have a double top of the all-time high at 38.95. We rejected from it yesterday by 3 pennies. And then today we rejected from the high of yesterday by 2 pennies. So some top fishing plays for bears. We closed near the low. So I'm viewing this as higher low, double top. And if the inside bar today breaks bear tomorrow, we're going to scout a daily higher low, anything above 37.22, and the bulls have a good amount of space to work with because it was 100% bounce retracement to get back to that resistance level. So we're scouting daily higher lows on all of these names. What would stand out to us would be increasing bear volume and a pullback of 50% retracement plus. Declining bear volume and a pullback less than 50% retracement, the bulls are still in control. Biotech sector, upper wick forming. We're going to scout for daily consolidation, and we're going to scout that daily higher low. And just comparing it to other growth names, TAN did the same thing with the big upper wick. Can the bulls confirm a trend change? ARKK, daily consolidation has begun. Can the bulls confirm a trend change? They've got a lot of space for a daily higher low. Can they set a higher low and break the top of the bounce? That is a must if the bulls are going to prove anything to us on all these names that are struggling to prove something to us for these bulls. Other names, MJ sector, which is the weakest of the growth, potential bear flag still, weak bounce on CGC, EMA 12 rejection, and looking right back down at the low, 1627. SMH, daily inside bar. If the inside bar breaks bear, it'll be a lower high compared to the all-time high, and we will then scout the higher low, watching the retracement size. And of course, if the inside bar does not break bear, bulls keep control. They actually had a pretty good day, all things considered, with most major sectors closing near the low of the day. And certainly SMH did not close near its low of the day. NVDA, daily inside bar as well, held the low of yesterday. So we will be watching for a daily higher low. Same as, SMH and XLF. As far as daily inside bar, they're similar. And their positioning on their daily charts with previous all-time high resistance is similar as well. And just watching to see the direction that those inside bars break tomorrow as to whether or not daily consolidation is underway or not. The dollar is bouncing right off our uptrend support line, still a daily uptrend. Bulls need to get over 93.13 for follow-through. And we're going to keep an eye on this pattern until it breaks. It is a rising wedge, which is in general a bearish pattern, but it's possible that we stay within this pattern for another couple of weeks. Gold, daily consolidation continues. We're watching the daily higher lows because when the daily higher lows are lost, our weekly lower high is likely set. So right now, our last daily higher low is 17.74, and we just held that level by $6, and we'll see if the bulls are able to continue the daily uptrend. If I'm a real aggressive bear right now, I'm scouting a 12-hour lower high. And remember on natural gas, that was the same play. Scouting the 12-hour lower high, putting a stop over the high, because the longer-term time frame is favoring a weekly lower high as the more likely scenario. And if we confirm a 12-hour inability to break resistance into a lower low, the odds of losing the daily higher lows will increase a good bit. And just to compare that to natural gas, nice reaction to inventory report today. Big reaction. That's a weekly bull flag confirmed. We knew it was a bull flag. The bears didn't prove enough of that consolidation. Again, the consolidation retracement, less than 382. But the short that I was talking about was this one right here, where it was a rising wedge, and we saw this bounce, and we were scouting the 12-hour lower high for a top fish into weekly consolidation. But congrats to the bulls on a big inventory reaction day. Weekly bull flag confirmed. Actually, I take that back. We did break it, but ideally want a bit more follow through than that. Because we've got a resistance line from the previous price action. Let's keep an eye on that resistance line. Not much else nearby to be watching. Silver's a daily equilibrium. I just refreshed my trading view chart, and this was a falling wedge that I was watching that had the fake out breakout straight into the dump And now it's acting, the previous support is acting as resistance, rejecting the price. So silver's a nice daily equilibrium where we've got our low of the dump, high of the bounce, higher low, double top at resistance, and anything above 2287 is another daily higher low. So ideally, the pattern gets as tight as possible and then gives us a nice clear break. Scouting a daily higher low compared to 2287 initially. Oil, we're watching for a potential top fish play against resistance of 69.39. Today was a daily inside bar, so the inside bar has to break bearish for that lower high to be set. So 67 is key short-term support. If 67 breaks, we then watch to see can the bulls shape up an inverse head and shoulders to try and change the daily trend in favor of the bulls, keeping in mind that we just bounced 10% with no daily trend change. So cup and handle pattern. Cup and handle pattern is the most misidentified pattern. Why? Because it's a breakout pattern, and people that have hopium and they're hoping that the chart that they're looking at and their pick is a cup and handle that's about to break out. And so they just slap it on things that are not even close to a cup and handle. The most important aspect of a cup and handle, ideally it's in an uptrend. You have a clear left side of resistance, an inability. The right side of the cup has to be lower than the left because you failed to break it. That's the most important part of the pattern. Well, tied for the most important. Because the psychology is you reject from resistance, bulls that are going to take profit because of the rejection are exiting. Bears are top fishing entries, putting their stop above, just above resistance, low risk top fish. The second most important aspect of the pattern is the bull flag, the handle. You then form a bull flag, which shows significant dip buying, and then you put pressure on any shorts that entered for a top fish. You're forcing those shorts to cover. And then you break out and follow through. So Netflix is a cup and handle pattern. The question is it going to confirm? And the broader market's going to have a significant impact there. If QQQ and SPY give us healthy daily higher lows and look right back up at the all-time high, Netflix is very likely to be a cup and handle pattern. So the bulls would have to set the daily higher low, and we can look at this, well, I'll go into that in a second, but 557.54 and 555.55 break both of those levels, and we're looking up at 563.56 and all-time highs as the only resistance levels. So this is a very key test right now. And when I'm trying to play a bull flag or a bear flag, I look at this setup and the inside bar today, and I say, if this is going to be a bull flag, that needs to be our low at 545.45. So I can make an entry and just put my stop under that level. If that level breaks, we're still looking for a daily higher low, but the probabilities instantly shift as to whether it's a bull flag or not, because that's essentially a support level being established, a failure to break resistance, and then a drop down and break of support. It would be possible to break 545.45 with zero follow through, straight into a V-shape hourly bounce, and keep a possible daily bull flag alive. But again, probabilities. If you're saying if it's a bull flag and that low breaks, I will say if that low holds, probabilities of a bull flag are 95%. If that level breaks, probabilities of a bull flag drop down to 50 or 45%. It's a very big difference. So this is a bull flag right now, and the burden of proof is on the bears to break 545 support and negate it. And obviously we held on really well. Again, all of our major sectors closing at the low of the day, and Netflix standing out as a lead bull today. Amazon stood out very well as well, has not topped out on its bounce yet, creating some solid space for a daily higher low to try and form once we do top out. And again, the bulls will have to confirm the daily trend change if we're going to believe that the reaction to earnings has set a bottom. Ideally, for the bulls, it's a monthly higher low right above EMA 12 support. Trading views being finicky today. But Amazon's right above monthly 12 EMA support. Don't even need to look. When you look at charts long enough, especially the longer term charts, you know what they look like without even needing to check in on them. But a daily trend change is needed for the Amazon bulls. Chinese stocks, K-Web inside bar bear break. Failed to break resistance by 16 cents, dropped down and broke support. So the way we're viewing this is the low of the dump, high of the bounce, and now the question is, can the bulls confirm a daily trend change? Just like IWM and our growth names, XBI and TAN, All these names must confirm daily trend changes if we're going to believe that a shift in momentum is underway. What happened on the oversold bounces, we reached a point where there was nobody left to short and there was nobody left to sell their long positions. And so the only people acting over the last 3 days of the bounce starting were people buying the dip for the bounce and shorts covering. So that is the scales shifting between supply far outweighing demand of shares, and it flipped to demand far outweighing supply for a limited amount of time. So now the question is, okay, now that that shift has taken place, are we just about to see a bunch more shorts pile on because RSI levels cooled off and a bunch more longs exit positions? Or are we going to see bulls saying, wow, I missed that bounce, but that was very impressive and there was a lot of volume behind it, and I'm going to look for an entry on a daily high or low? Because these bulls have to confirm, it's a little inverse head and shoulders, but they have to confirm the daily trend change to show us that the shift of supply and demand of shares sticks. They don't want to see it shift and then fade back. They want to see it shift, fade back for a higher low, and then stay that way. Demand has to keep exceeding supply at this point if we're going to see a weekly bounce follow through. So it's the same for BABA. BABA is consolidating, looking for a daily high or low. There's a gap to fill down at 161.47. And again, we can look at retracement sizes to say, well, how significant is this pullback at this point? And we've given back almost half of the bounce. And if we drop down under the 50% retracement, it's that much harder for the bulls to head back up. Just think of it logically. What are the probabilities of a trend change if you pull back 40% of the bounce versus pulling back 60% of the bounce? Obviously, it's going to be a lot more probable to change the daily trend if it's only 40%. So BABA bulls have to set a daily high or low ASAP. One good sign for the bulls is a declining volume pattern on consolidation, but those bulls need an hourly trend change back in their favor here real quick to set the daily high or low, and then we'll have to break 174.15 to confirm a daily trend change. The burden of proof is absolutely still on the bulls at this point to confirm the first daily trend change in a while, or the first convincing one. We broke, technically we had a daily trend change here, but these bull breaks, not convincing. Bull breaks with a lack of follow through mean caution of a bear flag. GME, so the Reddit names, worth keeping an eye on for volatility purposes. And again, as a day trader, it's just the kind of thing that I check in on. And the only way that I play these names as a day trader are if I'm looking at the first oversold conditions, which is what we were looking at from the Reddit video that I did. First 5-minute oversold conditions, which had a great bounce yesterday. So I look for that trade. I look for a bottom fish or a top fish first thing on the morning if those levels are in play. So for example, if we open and drop right down into 5-minute oversold conditions and hit 200, I can bottom fish 199, the low of today. Very low risk trade. Or top fish resistance if it's the opposite. That's the second kind of trade I'll take on these names. Other than that, I just wait for the morning to play out, and if they give me, say, a 15-minute equilibrium, then I can look to trade within that 15-minute equilibrium. So that's the only way that I trade these names, but I like when they get volatile because I just know as a day trader, this is something to keep an eye on because there's probably going to be some volatile opportunity. So right now, GME is a daily inside bar, which means volatility is shrinking, but that inside bar is going to break either tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, then we're going to get real tight for Monday. And there's a little bit of a bear lean right now. Why is there a bear lean? We don't have earnings. These are incorrect. Earnings are September 8th. But why is there a bear lean? Because all the peers broke bear. BB, daily consolidation started. AMC, close at the low of the day. Daily consolidation started. We had a double top by 10 pennies. Wish, daily consolidation underway. Hood. So all these names are starting daily consolidation. GME is the only one that didn't. So we'll see if GME breaks 199 tomorrow to start daily consolidation to follow everybody else. If the Hood Bulls are going to give us a weekly higher low compared to the all-time low, we have to hold 42.44. Again, it's an inverse head and shoulders. Have to hold 42.44 and break 51. And all an inverse head and shoulders is a downtrend of lower highs and lower lows changing to an uptrend with a higher low and higher high. All right, do good things. Have a good rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.